missed it earlier, we had the Dallas Mavericks introductory press conference. Fun note from that maybe wouldn't have carried over on audio. Quentin Grimes needed to turn his jersey around because when they do, they do the picture where it's like, hey, I'm here and we're all here together. Naji and Klay were like, got it. Here's my last name. Quentin Grimes, he was ready. He was posing with his jersey and he looked over and he was like, oh, my bad.
Well, you know what? It's because it's not about the name on the back.
See?
It's about the name on the front.
All right, so you're saying of the new additions, Quentin Grimes is the most team first guy.
Clearly, that's what this means, right?
Okay, that's good to know. Klay Thompson says he's looking forward to trying some of that Texas barbecue and going to a Cowboys game. Missed opportunity for him right there.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? I really think he could have said, because, obviously we got more of a chance of winning in the playoffs than the Cowboys. Because I really feel like media people would be like, ha, ha, ha. I see what you did there. Zing.
You think he's savvy enough to know that the Cowboy, like the joke about the Cowboys right now?
Yeah.
Like locally, I know the Cowboys nationally are like, they're talked about all the time. If he's turning on ESPN, it's just constantly like, oh man, the Cowboys must be really good if they're talking about them.
But also, that they're not going to win. So I just thought that was a missed opportunity to maybe
take a jab.
Yeah.
And challenge Dak and the boys.
Exactly. He says he likes it. He's like, I get effing pumped when I see those challenges. By the way, side note about Dak Prescott, I don't know if this will make people feel better or not. He said that his surgically repaired foot was just hurting after some vigorous workouts, 2 vigorous workouts. So the boot was just a precautionary method.
Hey.
So it's not about the boat?
Well, he was saying and going on a fishing trip.
Okay.
So like in addition to I worked out really hard and I was going on the fishing trip, just trying to protect myself.
I'm confused. There's a lot of different things.
He's saying, look,
said.
I'm getting old now. That's what he's saying. I'm getting old now, and I gotta start protecting myself even more.
His surgically repaired foot hurt after a couple workouts. Why would that worry anybody? It's going to be fine. This whole season's going to be fine.
He was like, look, it was a pretty nasty snap when it happened. So, like, these things are going to happen.
I think he understands the key to getting the most from the Cowboys is make sure you're hurt.
I mean, look, their track record certainly leans into that. Now, on the Mavericks front, I had a question for you guys. I know a lot of people will say Klay. Maybe that's everyone here's answer.
Klay.
But what's been your favorite addition or maybe even subtraction of the Mavs offseason? If you could just pick one specific player, you're glad they're here or you're glad they're gone, where do you think you would fall on that?
Well, I mean, obviously it's the addition of Klay Thompson. That's the biggest deal because it adds an element of star power.
Mavericks and nepotism.
Yeah. And, oh wow, because the biggest loss, or not the biggest loss, but the one I'm happiest about leaving. His dad is on ESPN, and it's Tim Hardaway Jr. I mean,
he's on the crap one.
Look,
he's on with New York. I sell tickets and go to prison.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Carson. Oh yeah, is that Carton?
Carton.
Yeah,
but yeah, he that's the biggest move on from is the contract itself, but also the player who clearly wasn't happy with what his role was here, and so like him moving on again, Mavs is nepotism there. It's a big deal. That's a big factor. So those two right there, I think, are a great combination of you basically change one for the other. Did you get a better version, one that's more excited to be here than the other one? Yes, for sure.
As the press conference went on, because when the press conference started and Klay goes, yes, I'm very excited to be. It sounded like he was being held hostage.
The more he opened up, the better he. Yes,
they're feeding me well.
Yes, I know. It is.
I am safe.
Tuesday, July 9th. But as it went on, obviously he loosened
fresh
up quite a
clothes
bit.
each 3 days.
I'm starting to wonder, and I know you talked about this, Mike, the last couple of weeks. I'm starting to wonder more and more about this edition of Naji. Now, Bleacher Report put that as one of their top 10 under-the-radar moves because, like, Lord knows that's not gotten as much coverage as Klay Thompson, and you understand and everything like that. But I just think about the size, the age, the price, and the defensive potential. And I feel like there's a lot to be excited about there.
I'm with you. I'm going to ask a question back to you.
Okay.
If you had the choice, Derek Jones Jr. or Naji Marshall, who would you rather have?
In this instance, I would pick Derek Jones Jr., but that is just because I know that can work. But I also understand, or don't understand the amount of scouting that went into it. So maybe there's multiple Mavs brass that are like, look, we think this is equivalent. Or maybe you think he's even got a higher upside at a slightly lower price. I would have stuck with Derek Jones Jr. just because I was like, hey, you work super well. You seem like you desperately want to stay here in Dallas.
I'm very intrigued, and I think Naji's going to get half a game of minutes. I think he's going to get 24 minutes a game. So I think I had no clue who he was. I'll be honest. I feel like I know the NBA pretty darn well. And when they say Mavericks signed Naji Marshall, I was like, I don't even know who this person is. And then the more you looked at him, saw what he has done in his small career in New Orleans, and then what you hear from other scouts and coaches and other teams were very interested in him. This could be a very good pickup for a guy that's going to come off the bench and I think play half the game.
Yeah, I know Kevin is the known is where you're at on that. I'm more excited about the unknown because it might be a body type that we don't have that can actually do something. Like Morris was a body type that just couldn't do anything. He couldn't get out on the court. And I think this is a body type that's something that can push around, put shoulders into chest, not going to back down from a physical altercation at all. And again, like you said, could be a higher ceiling 3-point shooter. Also could very well be a lower ceiling lower floor 3-point shooter. But I think a different style of defense that comes along with it too.
I hadn't thought about this as a departure because I already marked him as essentially departed a few months ago. But Mark Cuban not running the team is their favorite addition or subtraction of the offseason. And in case you wanted the farewell message from Tim Hardaway Jr., which I'm assuming that you do, quote, "The city and organization embraced my family and I with open arms. And even though things didn't end the way I wanted them to, I am forever grateful. Will always be love. Thank you and God bless," from Tim Hardaway Jr.
There you go, man. Thanks.
That is a
Classy.
delightful statement.
Yeah.
That is classy.
Yeah, that one hit with nothing but net. You know what I mean?
What are you doing right now?
Yes, because you're afraid
I'm using sports terms to describe the feelings.
that you
Are
have.
you, though?
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, I'm a little surprised early on. I thought that Klay Thompson would be the dominant vote on the Frankel and Frankel injury attorneys text line. I actually think Naji has gotten more votes thus far, which is great because, hopefully that means you brought in an even higher level of talent. I'm excited about it. And then from the 972, my least favorite departure was getting rid of Josh Green. It's not, to me, the level of giving up Brunson, but I didn't like that he took off, especially for a 34-year-old. Look, I understand, but I'm perfectly fine with the concessions.
He's 34?
No, not Josh Green. Klay Thompson.
I gotcha. I'm sorry. I'm
You're like, he looks good for that age.
I was like, hold on.
Yeah, good for him.
I'm exchanging him for Quentin Grimes, though. I think they're kind of very similar style players, and that's the expectation. So I don't think that it's Klay for him. I think it's Quentin for something else.
It's amazing what the last game will do for somebody, because if he wouldn't have had that game and had where he jumps up in the air and passes it to the other team and kind of looks erratic, and he's just an inconsistent player. And
That's
maybe
true.
in Charlotte, he can be more consistent. The other thing, too, is I'm not against Josh Green. I'm going to miss him, too. He was a solid player, but he always missed 20 to 40 games a year. His body has so far told us 81, 82 games of a regular season. My body can't come close to competing in that amount of games.
Were you going to say something there, Randy?
I was going to ask Kevin, because Kevin was like, he seemed to be in a place where you are not sad to see Josh Green go necessarily.
No.
So I wanted to probe into that a little bit.
It's not that I'm not sad to see Josh Green go. I just go back to the beginning of the offseason and think about the net gain versus the net loss. You know what I'm saying? And at the beginning of this process, you had $5 million. And so to me, and that was your taxpayer exemption. And to me, so you use that money in a roundabout way, and you lost Josh Green, but you picked up Grimes, Naji, and Klay, and that feels like I'm willing, and obviously you lost Eric Jones Jr. as well. I still feel like that's a net positive for the team in hopefully keeping your 3-and-D style strong, as well as adding perimeter shooting that clearly haunted you to no end in the finals. Now, I mean, if you could have told me that you're also going to keep Josh Green, I'd be like, wow, how the hell did you figure that out? But good job. But
you were never really a big Josh Green guy, though. Like it's not like you pushed for him when a draft time or anything.
I told them that they were supposed to take Tyrese Maxey. We asked Donnie Nelson the day before, and then when we took Josh Green, I was like, look, I love Josh Green's defensive ability. He's not to where I was hoping he was going to be, but to Mike's point, perhaps a change of scenery will spark him and allow him to get to where he wants to be.
Will you be following his career for the rest of his career? Will you be like, you know what?
In Charlotte, nobody follows them.
That's a good point. Assuming the team doesn't get contracted, then I will.
Okay, gotcha.
I'll keep an eye out on him. By the way,
to find out if they're the Bobcats this year.
Yeah.
No, I think they're the Hornets still.
They could change.
But are you sure?
That's the only way they make publicity. Like that's the only way. Anyway, like, you change your name again.
That would be a good bit.
Yeah, we're the Charlotte Knights now, the AAA team.
Now, Jared Dudley is going to stay with the Mavericks, and I thought something that he said was particularly encouraging because obviously he got a lot of head coaching looks. He is coaching the Summer League team for the Mavericks in Vegas, and one of the things that he said that I just absolutely love, he said, it's not the time for him to depart. For one, there's unfinished business. For two, you got to wait for the right opportunity. I'm not leaving Dallas. My family loves it here. That right opportunity hasn't come yet for me. I always tell people I'm in no rush. It's not like I'm going anywhere for the money. I made a lot of money as a player. So my whole thing is I'd rather be a year or two behind and take the right job and stay here.
He has a lot of love around the league, too. A lot of people, a lot of players love him. A lot of current players and older players because he was one of those guys that would get up in you as a defensive player and wouldn't make it easy on you. So he has love and respect from around the league. Like I said, from older players, I think from other franchises that have seen how he operates too. So what he's doing here, like he just said there, he's taking his time making sure if some opportunity does come along, it's got to be the right one where I can have my say in all these things. I'm not just begging for some job. I have a good job. I want to go do what I'm doing right here, see if we can grow something here, and then maybe I can catapult that and learn even more along the way.
Having the opportunity to keep both Dudley and Sweeney, from what looked like a damn fine team last year, is definitely a positive to me.
And when it comes to developing the defense of the younger players, that's something that Dudley does very well and is doing very well, continuing to grow those players along the way. That's something that I think that they see it, they respect it, they love it, and they want to keep him around for as long as they can, for sure.